Please review the disclosures. Nothing written, expressed, or said here should be looked at as investment advice or an admonition to buy, sell, or trade any security or financial instrument. The Lund Loop is for informational purposes only. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Update for Tuesday, September 16th, 2025. Taco Tuesday, is that what we decided? I don't know. It's so stupid. Do they even have Taco Tuesday outside of Southern California? I was talking about this a couple weeks ago when I was in my 20s after my mom kicked me out of my house and I had to go live with some buddies down at the beach. We literally survived by going to this place called the Red Onion down there, and they would have like Taco Tuesdays. You would go down, and if you bought a beer, which back then was like, I don't know, $2, you could have as much taco bar as you wanted. So Taco Tuesday was a big thing out here in SoCal. Let me know if it's a big thing where you're from. All right. Hey, Discord should be in there. If you're a paid subscriber, you already have access. If you're not a paid subscriber, become one. By the way, if you hear a buzzing in the background, it's my air conditioning. Yes, it's only a week until fall starts, but out here in Southern California, fall doesn't really start till like Halloween, so it's still pretty hot. Anyway, lots going on in the Discord. Let me just give you an example of the value of the Discord, as if I have to give you example 875. So I posted here at about, just before 10 Pacific time. I said, yes, BMNR is squirrely, but boy, does it look good here. And boy, did it look good. 52 right there, getting tight. And wouldn't you know that within a couple minutes, well, here's what happened. Let's go in real time here. So we saw Ethereum start to really ramp up after putting this bottom in. So it drops hard at the open. There's no open in crypto, but you know what I mean. Drops, starts forming a bottom here, rallies back above the previous day's low, comes back in a little bit, and then recaptures it again and starts going. And what I pointed out at that point was that BMNR was following, doing almost the same thing, back above the red to green line. And then a couple minutes later, boom, highs of the day. A couple minutes after that, even higher. And finally, and when I put a GIF in, it's not GIF, by the way. When I put a GIF in on the chart, that's a short-term top, right? So we got basically 9.5% run from right about here, 52 when I first pointed it out. And of course, I put nailed it, and that's when it started to pull back a little bit, which is fine. It needed to consolidate some. And you can see it's right there, right? But decent consolidation. In fact, I actually like this consolidation that it held up nicely here. So, nice 9% intraday run from there. And here's the other thing, right? Here's the other thing about the Discord. So here I am lipping off at 10 o'clock. But look, right? Bruno, he's already on it hour and a half before. Green Day J, an hour before, right? Rafa, an hour before. So I'm late to the party, right? But we had a lot of people, a lot of smart people in this Discord that are consistently pointing out great setups and price action. Okay, so if we look at today's action, what happened? Nothing. We had a little gap up at the open, started to sell off, and some people were freaking out, and I wasn't freaking out, and here's why. There are two reasons I didn't freak out. The first is we're quite a ways away from the 8. And we're going to have to come back to it at some point. So coming back into the 8, no big deal. It's the speed with which we go back into it. The second reason I wasn't that freaked out is because tomorrow's the Fed. Tomorrow's the interest rate decision, Jerome Powell's conference, press conference call, whatever, after that. So, I didn't think anyone was going to get too crazy. In fact, I really thought that today we would see some selling towards the close. People taking off risk, and we really didn't see that much. SPX is still above yesterday's close. We look at the Qs, way above yesterday's close. Little dump here at the end, but way above yesterday's close. And same thing, well, not quite the same thing on IWM, but look at this. Not only was there not really a sell-off, we grinded our grid back up right to the previous day's close, and Dow Jones held it. So just a very flat, neutral day. Right? We're just basically flat on the Qs, flat on the SPX, down about 0.5% on IWM, 0.25% on the Dow Jones. If we can get past tomorrow, without a big sell-off, right? If the market likes whatever Powell says tomorrow, and we know how it works, the first 17 moves are a head fake, so we'll be up, down, up, down, up, down. We'll be all over the place. But if we stabilize and start going higher, I think we're going to get a great window in which to trade, because we get the Fed off the table for a while. We can really start running, but we will see. That's a big if. Big if. So, all right, let's go through these and the macros and the watch lists.